Okay, so the first question is about Webpack and Angular 2 and Meteor. So I think, so first of all, oh, someone is sending me a message on Hangouts. There's too many people. Okay, so Webpack and Angular 2 and Meteor. So Meteor has a really, it's a very old debate. Like Meteor has its own build system, and it's a very powerful build system. And you can, Meteor has a really, oh, now I can hear myself twice. Cesar, can you mute yourself?
Sure.
Oh, okay, at least something is starting to happen. So Meteor has its own build system, which is a very powerful one. It's a very powerful one because when you're just starting to use an app, the package maintainer, for example, me as the one who wrote or was reading the Angular package, takes care of all the build processes for you. So you just need to add the package, and then there's not a lot you need to do. You just need to run your app. And a powerful one, but it's also very easy to get this type of build system outdated. It exists since 2011, and a lot has changed since then. And now we're in a place where Webpack, I mean, there were a few build processes along the way, like Grunt and Gulp and Broccoli, but Webpack is becoming very, very popular. Now, the important thing to understand is that Meteor doesn't prevent you from using Webpack or any other build system. And there's many ways of doing that. So one of the things I want to share here now is that we just published a new blog post, which is actually a new tutorial, which is actually an updated tutorial for the WhatsApp clone. And the updated tutorial, I'll share it in there's a showcase app with links. So I'll put it there. We'll see if it works. But successfully saved pending changes. Okay, I don't know. I hope you can see that. But there's a new tutorial released just like a few days ago that you can use the Ionic CLI with Webpack, which the Ionic CLI doesn't use Webpack, it used Gulp, but the tutorial shows you how to use the current Ionic CLI that uses Gulp, connect a Webpack to it, and work with Angular 2 Meteor just on the front end, and then connect to a Meteor backend. So that solution will actually make you, you will get the live reloads, the fast live reloads that you get on Webpack with your any other front-end library. And the server will stay Meteor, and the code will stay Meteor. So, so that is one solution. Another solution that I personally haven't used yet is there's, I think Gadi Cohen wrote a like Meteor Webpack hot model reload, which is a way to work with Meteor, and it will hot reload the client side when you use React, I think. So it would be interesting if someone wants to work with me on adding that and adding support to Angular 1 or Angular 2. I would love to work with them. So you can just send me an email. My email is public on my GitHub page. It's github.com/Urigo. It's URIGO. But I think my personal opinion is that's probably is unnecessary. Probably what you want to do is have a separated client side, like a static client side, that you compile with Webpack like you want. For example, you can use the Angular CLI that is now recently migrated into Webpack. So I guess the next release will be with Webpack. And then you can add the library called Meteor Client Side, which I'll link to here as well. Let me just find the link. But I think if you just Google Meteor client side, it's probably, that's the one you will find, but let me find out. Yeah, that's probably the first result. But I'll paste, it here just for a second.
Ori, are you sharing your screen?
No, I'm just now. I'm putting things on the Showcase app, but maybe I should put it also on the chat. I don't know. There's a Showcase app and that I activated. That I put links there. So let me know if you can see those links. Or if in the Q&A I can answer on the questions directly. Let me find, select answer. Okay. Yeah, I'm currently answering the how. Okay, I'm answering the question. But where do I put the links? Can you see the links in the Showcase app that I'm placing? There's supposed to be a Showcase app inside the Hangouts thing.
Not on tablet. I don't know. Maybe on laptop, but not on the tablet.
Okay. Okay, so I'll place it. So where do I place it? Where's the best place to place on the link? On the links? I have no idea. Because I think once the Hangouts is closed, then the group chat is it gets deleted. So that's why I'm afraid to put it there. Maybe I can put it on the YouTube. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, after the talk, I will publish some links. But the idea is that I think the best solution to do that is to use the Angular CLI, the updated Angular CLI that uses Webpack, the new version, and then and once we do that, we can use the Meteor client-side library and just you npm install Meteor client-side, and you can work with the Angular 2 Meteor library also from npm, and you have a separate client-side and a separate server-side. And then most people, their main need of using Webpack is to have fast reloads. So that way you get the way the whole Angular 2 community works with the Angular CLI, and you can get the benefits of Meteor. But on top, so that I think is the best solution. If someone wants to try out the other Meteor Webpack libraries, then you should contact me with. I have like I said before, I have my email public, and just send me emails. I like getting emails from people directly. You don't need to be afraid or something. Just send me emails, and we can talk about what is exactly your specific need. Because usually when people request these big name features, I like to understand better what is exactly their problems. Is there fast reload times, or other features that they want from Webpack, or whatever, smaller bundle, or all kinds of interesting tree shaking, all kinds of many interesting things you can do with the build tool, and depends on your requirements. So yeah, so you can already use in your client side, you can use whatever CLI you want, Ionic CLI, Angular CLI, and just connect a Meteor client side into it and work in your preferred environment. And I'll post the links there, but I think you can just Google Meteor client side, and you will get Idan. It's IDANWE. He's the creator of that package, and then you can just take it from there. This library is basically just the bundled client-side libraries of Meteor. Like after Meteor bundles them and sends them to the client, he just exposes them into NPM. The better solution will be to take each package from Meteor, exposing them to NPM, and then bringing them back to Atmosphere, but it will probably take time. I was expecting that the Blaze community will do that, now that Blaze is a community effort, but it still haven't happened. So until then, I think this is the best solution. Yeah, so, and there's tutorials of how to do it both with Angular 1 and both with Angular 2. The WhatsApp the clone tutorials that use the Ionic CLI are the ones you can follow and see how to do that. Yeah, so just try those out, and if there's a problem, again, you can just put an issue or email me. Another thing I want to say is that very, very soon we're going to release the new updated version of Socially 2.0. I know there's like a few warnings there and a lot of issues with when we updated to Angular 2 RC4. So we'll release today or tomorrow probably a new version with many of those fixes. And I'll comment on each of those issues. And the person who's done amazing work on doing that is Camille. And yeah, and I hope it will be public tomorrow. Let's see other questions. So, can you provide some guidance on preferred HTML, CSS, and JS frameworks such as ng-material? Oh wait, maybe that's this one. Oh wait, now I've deleted the other one. If you can post your other question again, like the expansion of it. It was ng2 material or Bootstrap, or I guess those. Well, it depends on if you're using Angular 1 or Angular 2. Angular 1 has Angular-Meteor library, which is good, but I feel like it's not, in my experience, it's not super polished. Wait, I think I'm hearing myself twice. Okay, so but basically, there's no reason that I will comment on it, because you can use any front-end framework that you want, any CSS framework that you want. You can bring it with, since Meteor 1.3, you can bring it from NPM. You don't need to to bring it from Atmosphere anymore. Like, you can just do npm install in your preferred library. In the tutorials, I provide examples on how to do that with Bootstrap and how to do it with Angular-Material, but those are just examples. You can use Materialize or whatever, and also examples of Ionic and Ionic 2.0. It's all in the tutorials. My preferred way, what's the most optimal for mobile? Probably Ionic 2.0. Like, it looks very nice, and they do a lot of work with the Angular team, and they push a lot there. Also, if you're using Angular 2, then the Angular 2 material looks very interesting, but it's not done yet. There's still a lot of missing components. Recently, I saw there's a few people extended that and created this new thing for Angular 2 material. I don't remember the name, but you can maybe Google it and or send it to me, and I'll post it on this channel later. But if you want a serious, I think for my current experience, and yeah, you can also use Bootstrap for Angular 2. That's true. Just regular, Bootstrap 4, for example, or Bootstrap 3 in the Socially tutorial. I'm showing how to do that. But actually, when you really want to create a quality mobile app, I think Ionic 2 can bring you so much further, and it looks nice. It looks very good. I think the best solution to look at is probably they have a showcase app. And the showcase app of Ionic 2.0 looks very nice. I think they showed it on. You probably if you Google Angular 2 Ionic 2 showcase app, you will find it. It looks very nice, and it will get you. So probably that's like the best you can do with Ionic. But then if you download the F8 app, which is the Facebook, it's the Facebook showcase app for React Native and for all kinds of other technologies they use, you will see that it looks much better. And I've built a few apps with React Native, and it looks very, very nice. So I actually think that you should use Ionic 2 until a certain point, but then when you get to a point where you want the app to really, really look very polished, and you get into this point with your business that you need the app to be much more polished, you should think about native renderers. And the good thing is that Angular 2 supports that, so you can use native script, which looks very interesting. But again, the showcase app that they've done, I think they can do better than that. That's just my personal opinion. But you can also render Angular 2 with React Native. If you just Google Angular 2 React Native, you will see that Angular 2 can render into React Native. And I would love people to send me like examples of that.
If you want, Yuri's doing a live hangout.
So
Just listening to.
Just Michael, can you mute yourself because I hear you?
For a polish stack with the typings error, see if that's something they're going to work on.
Okay, I'll mute. So React Native looks very interesting. You can use it with Angular 2, and I would love to get examples of that. So I hope I answered that. It's a very big question for many Angular developers, not directly related to Meteor. Like Meteor doesn't prevent you to use any of those libraries. But I feel like as community we can do better in show. I'm expecting for something like the F8 app from the Angular community. Someone from the community should come up and do a really impressive like showcase app with Angular 2, with React Native or NativeScript, doesn't matter, or Ionic, doesn't matter, but that looks at least as polished as the F8 app. So, but then again, anyway, you can use it with Meteor, and nobody will prevent you from using that. So I hope I answered your question. If you want to read how to do that, then it's in the Socially tutorial, chapter 17 and 18. And also in the Ionic WhatsApp clones, of course. Will the new Socially tutorial include a new forms implementation? Yes. Tomorrow there will be a release. And I can also, like, if you look at the pull requests for the Angular-Meteor docs, you can see that it's already there. So you can, if you want to take it already from the pull request, you can use that. And yeah, so yes, the new forms will be implemented and deployed tomorrow, hopefully. Okay, so I answered that. Okay, sounds like you can hear me. Okay, I answered that as well. Include the new forms, yes. Next question: when will Apollo with Angular 2 tutorial will be ready? That's a good question. So I'm separating the two. First of all, Apollo. Like, if some of you are not, oh, it looks like Enrique Iglesias is like joining our call. So what is Apollo? First of all, Apollo is a client based on is a client based on GraphQL. So GraphQL is a new standard for communicating between the client and the server. It's a very good standard. It came from Facebook, and the Facebook app itself is using that, and also all of the other Facebook apps. So it's a very It's a battle-tested standard. It's a very good standard. And if you compare it into like what we have right now with Meteor, you can say it's a replacement for DDP. It's a replacement for the underlying protocol, open source protocol between the client and the server. The good thing about GraphQL is that, I mean, first of all, I just released last week more like data and information and blog posts and talk about it. Like there's a conference talk I've done in Barcelona in Angular Camp, and they just released the video last week. So you can see me there. I'm talking about GraphQL as a standard. Why is it a good standard? Why is it better than REST? And one of the good things about GraphQL is it also supports real-time. So it can actually be, for Meteor developers, if we think about it as Meteor developers, we can look at it as DDP 2.0. So it will be probably in the future, it will replace DDP. But like DDP, the protocol is not enough. We need clients on top of it. So first of all, if you want and you should learn more about GraphQL itself, you can just Google Angular GraphQL, and you will get to my blog posts, or check out my Twitter. I just tweeted the blog post where I explain GraphQL in a very high level, and then watch the talk. In the bottom of the blog post, I shared the YouTube of the talk. And also in the talk, I show like examples of that. So there's already a few examples of that, of how to use Angular 2 with Apollo. If someone wants to work with me on building an Angular 1 Apollo library, I would love to work with you on that. Just contact me in my public email, or just create an issue. Like, it's very easy to contact me. All my details are public. So there's already examples, and there's already it's working. You can just take out the examples, see what we do there, and there's docs. There's a docs side, and you can just start. There's also a Slack channel which you can join and ask questions. But I also want to do a tutorial. So there will be 2 tutorials. Like one tutorial which I probably start with first, and if someone wants to help me, I would love help with that, is just a tutorial of, let's say I have an existing GraphQL server. How do I use just Angular 2 and Apollo, not related to Meteor at all? So that's probably the first tutorial that will be out, and hopefully it will be out very soon. My guess is in 2 weeks from now. Then the other tutorial will be, let's say, if right now I'm an Angular 2 Meteor developer or Angular 1 Meteor developer, how do I integrate Apollo into that? So first of all, you have docs on how to use Meteor with Apollo already on the Apollo side. And you can already now use Apollo for like request response types of communications. Like, let's say just like I want to send a request and get one single response in GraphQL. So I recommend you to check that out. And also replace Meteor calls, for example, with GraphQL mutations. So GraphQL mutations is it's kind of the equivalent of RPC. It's like you call a function on the server. So you can, it's exactly like Meteor call. So you can start, if you want to start migrating already today, you can start using queries with Apollo and mutations from Apollo. So that you can already do today, and where you need to go is on the Apollo docs. There's a Meteor section. But the next version of Meteor, Meteor 1.5, will introduce real-time queries with GraphQL over Meteor. So if you want to wait to that version, I don't have like a date for that version, unfortunately, but we will release, if you're now using Meteor, you have a gradual migration into that. You can like I said, like GraphQL is kind of like the DDP 2.0, but you'll have a gradual migration into that new standard. And since Meteor 1, so you can already use now Apollo, and since Meteor 1.5, you can already use Apollo with real-time data. So the tutorial for just Angular 2 and Apollo will probably be in 2 weeks from now. And a tutorial for how to use Angular 2, Meteor, and Apollo will probably come after Meteor 1.5. Yeah, I hope I answered that question. Okay, let's see. I see there's chat, so let me read what you wrote in the chat. Someone wrote, I also see there's a bootstrap for Angular 2. That's true. There's a new PR from. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna unmute everyone. Like, if you want to talk, because I muted you because you had a lot of did a lot of noise. So another question: Meteor 1.5 is going to use Apollo by default, or it will be separated? No, it will be separated. It means that you can use, there's support for Apollo. You can already start today, but it will be gradual. So as long as the version will be 1 point something, it means that there won't be breaking changes. So it means that you can still use whatever you are using today. So basically, if you're using any Meteor like version right now, let's say you're using 1.2 or 1.3, you can relatively easy upgrade to Meteor 1.4. There shouldn't be huge breaking changes. The breaking changes could be like in the Angular package, and you can blame me for that. But basically, it should be easy to update because there won't be any breaking changes, and Meteor 1.5 will probably be the same. So you have the opportunity to use Apollo also with real time, but you wouldn't need to replace all of your app. You can update to Meteor 1.5 and then gradually migrate towards GraphQL. And again, you can do it already today, but not for real-time data, just for replacing Meteor call and replacing just like one-time request response, or maybe doing polling, because the Apollo client has also the feature that you can do like kind of real time, but do polling. So you will poll the server every few seconds or so. So it's not the same as real time that we use on over WebSockets with Meteor, but you can do it already today. Another question. Sorry if I'm late to the party. I was trying to use Apollo in a Meteor application. I'm working on a project in Angular 2, all TypeScript. Getting Apollo server is not a function. So I'm not going to debug your thing right now, but submit it as an issue to the Angular 2 Apollo repo. And I look into that. If you submit an issue, it's better if you submit it with like an example, like example repo, where I can run the example and see the exact, make sure that when I'm cloning the example, I will see the same error, and then it will be very easy for me to debug and see what's the problem. So, so good. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's see if there's more questions. Also, people contact me directly, so let me just see that I've answered there as well. NG2 material, and it is not updated to RC4. Yeah, so Tali also says that NG2 material is not, there's also NG2 material, which is another library. It's not Angular 2 material. It's more complete, but it's not updated to RC4 yet. That's true, so I'm actually in the new tutorial, we've migrated into Angular 2 material, but again, it's missing some features. But I saw that there were people extending that, so you can probably search for like an extension for Angular 2 material, and you'll find it. Tali said excellent talk in the Barcelona one. Thank you. Let's see. I'm repeating my question. What is the testing recommendation? Mocha Chai as a media recommendation for. Okay. So testing in Angular 2 Meteor. Angular. So the question is that, like, what kind of framework do I recommend for testing Angular 2 apps? So the question is coming from the fact that the Angular 2 team recommends Jasmine and the Meteor team recommends Mocha and Chai. And because I think there's the value of testing your whole app in full scenarios is more important, then I would recommend Mocha and Chai. Because again, then you get this one framework to do one framework to do sorry. So you get one framework to test the whole app, and you can use Mocha and Chai with Angular 2. That's fine. So I would recommend that. It's also, I think, more popular than Jasmine in the greater JavaScript community. So I would recommend you to use that. And if you think there's a problem with that, then text me and let's debate about that. I would love to hear why isn't it a good option. Next question. Say we have a Meteor server now. If we add Apollo, do we need another extra GraphQL server, or we need to, or so we need to have both Meteor server and a GraphQL server together? Okay. So the question is, if you want to add GraphQL support, can we use the same Meteor server that we have right now, or need two separate servers? So no, you don't need two separate servers. Again, you can look at the docs for the Apollo Meteor, the Apollo server docs, and there's a Meteor integration in there, and you can use Apollo in your existing Meteor server. You can, but you can use another server to call the same database if you want, but you don't have to. You can use GraphQL with your existing Meteor server. And yeah, you should check the docs for that. And again, if you have issues with it, then just post it. If it's with issues with Angular, first of all, make sure if it works with like a different view layer, and then post it. But just post the issue with a repo that I can check it out and see if it works or not. Let's see if there's more questions. Oh, good question. Why does it take too long time to why does it take so long to download the Meteor packages? That's a great question, and it addresses one of the reasons is that the way we zip and unzip packages. But the good thing is that we're gonna now there was the release of Meteor 1.4. We're gonna release, I think, this week, Meteor 1.4.0.2, which addresses that issue, and it will make it downloading the packages much faster. Yeah, I see you're from India, so yeah, it will. I think it will be much better for you. It will be much quicker and faster. It will also, the command line will indicate better what actually takes time and what's not. So I hope by the end of the week you will have a better experience of downloading Meteor and downloading new packages. And also Meteor, and then we'll continue to Meteor 1.4.1, which will actually be also faster for the build process, because there's few pull requests we merged that should also help with that. Okay, question. Another question that was asked before: any chance of to move to webpack as the build tool for Meteor? So as I said before, you can already use Webpack with Meteor today. If you're an Angular developer, Angular 2 developer, my suggestion right now would be to use the Angular CLI, the new version with Webpack that hopefully would release very soon, and then use the Meteor client-side library. You can just Google Meteor client-side, and you can find a library which you can install from NPM or from Bower, and then you can use just the regular like build processes and Webpack that you use on the front end and connect to your Meteor backend. And there's 2 tutorials that demonstrate that in the Angular-Meteor.com website. The WhatsApp clone, so we just released this week the WhatsApp clone for Angular 2 and Ionic 2 as well. So there's 2 versions for that. One is using the Ionic CLI with Gulp and Meteor client side, and one is using the Ionic CLI with Ionic 2.0 with Webpack and Angular 2 and Meteor on the server side. So, and that's probably, from most people that I talked with, that's probably solved their problems. So, because the main problem you want to migrate from the Meteor build tool is performance. So you can do that already for your front end. Also, if you look at the Angular 2 Webpack Ionic 2.0 WhatsApp clone tutorial, you can see there's a very interesting build process there that you can actually, we used Webpack to share a code between the client and the server, kind of like Meteor does. So it's very interesting to look at that tutorial. Another thing on that sense is that Meteor 1.4.1 should have like performance improvements for the Meteor build tool, so that might help as well. Also, there's a long discussion on the Meteor repos issues, and there's a lot of like interesting ways. So, for instance, one thing that probably will help you a lot is that if you move all your client-side code not to the import/UI library, but for the import/client library. That will probably, it's a very simple thing, but it will probably like save you a few seconds for each of your build. But again, but Meteor 1.4.1 should be faster in that sense. And in the way of moving forward, then we're thinking about it. Like one of the things, we're trying out Webpack a lot, and Webpack still doesn't have like a few features that we have on the Meteor build tool, and we want to see like what is the future of the Meteor build tool. Like maybe it's Webpack, maybe not. There's a lot. The community is pushing a lot. The Webpack community is pushing a lot, and it looks like they're doing a lot of good work. I really hope that the Webpack build tool will become as powerful as the Meteor build tool, but there's still more features that they need to be doing, and in order to make it easier for people to start with, and for package maintainers to create more like extensions for the build tool, for example. Like with Meteor as a package author, I can extend the build tool, and I would love to have the ability to add extensions to Webpack very easily if I just install something and make it very easy to extend my build tool. So that's something I hope that the Webpack community will get to, and then there won't be a reason we'll get the best build tool for everyone. But right now it's still not there. So my suggestion right now is probably to start with the Meteor build tool. When you get to a very large app and it gets very painful, first of all, try to upgrade to Meteor 1.4.1. And if that's not good enough, then I would separate the client side from the server side and use Webpack for the client side. Yeah, I hope I answered it right. If as a community you want to help, then there's an interesting article that we wrote about the differences between the Meteor build tool and Webpack, and maybe the best way to help is to push for those features in the Webpack community. Or you can help us improve the performance of the Meteor build tool. There's also a document somewhere in GitHub that specifies what possible improvements we can do to the Meteor build tool to have better performance. So we hope the community could help us do that, because we have limited capacity. Yeah. Next question. Can we have multiple microservices built using Meteor connected to single Meteor client? Yes, of course. So there's Meteor, again, Meteor is just a Node library, a Node framework, an extension of Node that sits on top of a database, usually Mongo, and then sends the updates to the client through a protocol called DDP. The thing is that you can, with the DDP protocol, because it's an open source protocol, you can implement that protocol in any other way. So you can send updates through DDP from Redis. You can send updates from DDP through a MQ, through a queue somehow, through some kind of a queue, or a JMS, or like whatever thing you're using to orchestrate your microservices. Also, you can use GraphQL middleware to orchestrate those microservices. You can also, what I saw people doing is that they use another microservice to update Mongo, and then because Meteor live queries Mongo, then Meteor just like gets the new changes through the DB and then populates it to the server. So there's many ways of doing it, and there's no magic into it. You can also communicate with the Meteor server through REST if you want. There's many REST libraries to use with Meteor, and you can just send REST updates to Meteor, and then Meteor will do the rest. So there's no special things about it if you want to use microservices. Let me see if there's more questions. Also, we're getting into the end of the talk. Let me see if there's more questions. Yeah, I see not. I see there's no more questions. So I'll talk a little bit. And so this is an experiment. This is the first experiment that I've done of doing office hours. My main goal is to hear from you. So one thing is that I want to emphasize that you can contact me directly. And I want you to contact me directly. I want to hear more people and their use cases. Because that's how I learn about what the community is doing with Angular-Meteor. I learn about the use cases, then I can, first of all, I can have better examples and better answers for your questions. So you can just contact me directly. Just in my GitHub profile, there's my email. You can just contact me directly and tell me what you're doing with Angular-Meteor and what you want to do with Angular-Meteor and what are your problems doing it. So yeah, I want to see more participation from the community. I'm gonna try to make these office hours on a weekly basis, probably in the same time. But before I do that, I want to hear from you. Like, how could I make this office hours better? Because it's my first time doing Hangouts on air, so I have no idea what I'm doing. And what would you want to hear? Maybe in advance it will be even better. And then I can prepare more things and things to talk about. And there's a lot of things to talk about. Like there's the current Angular 1 Meteor integration, where is it going? The Angular 2.0 Meteor integration, where it is going? What is Apollo and how do we migrate into it? And where is Apollo? How to fit Apollo into Meteor? I talked about all of those things here. how to work with different deep build tools and with Meteor client side, to work with webpack and Meteor client side. So I also talked about it here, but you can just ask me that. What about, like, I recently, like, Hongbo, which is, he is also here, created a really good, you can find it on my Twitter, really good slides about NGRX and like a best practices to use Angular 2 and Meteor with, and it's very impressive. So I would love to talk a little bit about that if someone will ask me that on the next talk, or you can just, again, contact me directly. About the tutorials, like, the tutorials are constantly being updated. I'm now working on a better infrastructure, so it will be easier to update the tutorials. But also, if you have like feedback on the tutorials or you want to help with the tutorials, I would really love help with that. Like, and a help could be just that you will videocast yourself, like doing the tutorial, even just one step, because it's very hard to keep updating the tutorial just by myself. And I would love to have help with that. And the thing is that it doesn't need to be professional, right? Like, you can just record your screen, you can have mistakes, that's fine. It's actually better even to see how, like, someone is having a mistakes and then fix them. That's fine. In the tutorial that I recorded myself, I made tons of mistakes and fixed that. So it's just fine, and I would love any help with it, like, because I think having videos for each step of the tutorial is very, very good. And also, in general, like, let me know how can I make the tutorial better. Whether is it for the Angular 1 Meteor tutorial, Angular 2 Meteor tutorial, or the Angular Apollo tutorial, or just in general about GraphQL. And again, like, just contact me. You know, I'll even write my email here. So I would just love to hear your use cases. Like, what do you do? What do you work for? Like, if it's your company or you're working for a company that's using Angular Meteor, what is the apps that you're building? What are you doing with that? And I would love to help, just because that's the reason I created this library, to help people write better software and to make it easier for them. So yeah, so just keep contacting me and tell me what you're doing. So I think we're at the end of this experimental office hours. I would love, please, like, send me feedback. Tell me if it was good or bad, or how could I have done it better. It's just the first take of that, and I will do more of those in the future, I promise. But no, I'll just do it in the future if you tell me it's good. If not, I will just stop doing that. So yeah, I expect for your feedback, and yeah. Thank you, and I'll see you hopefully next next week. Oh, there's another. Okay, comment. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your comment, Michael. And again, just your team and you or whatever, just contact me. Feel free to contact me and ask me questions. That's it. That is how I can do better, just from hearing you. By the way, just one last thing is that I don't know if you know, but I don't have a house. I just like go everywhere around the world because that's how I believe I should live right now. And next week, next week I'm going to be in San Francisco. So if someone is in San Francisco, wants to meet me or talk with me in person and explain to me or ask me questions, then I would love to meet. So thank you all for joining and listening. And yeah, see you hopefully next week in the same time, same place. Bye.